Murang'a County today exposed the animosity and allegiances existing in the Jubilee administration. Murang'a County Women's Representative Sabina Chege's homecoming displayed the mistrust within Jubilee between Chege and Kigumo Member of Parliament Jamleck Kamau. Majority Central Kenyan leaders skipped the homecoming, blaming Chege for undermining Jamleck Kamau, who's considered President Uhuru Kenyatta's wingman in Murang'a. Sam Ogina has that story, but we will be bringing you the details of that in just a moment. Let's move over to the ongoing crackdown now in Isli. The intense pressure piled on Isli by security agencies may have triggered a fresh outcry over alleged profiling of Somalis. But it is not the first time the Kenyan government has mounted a massive screening exercise targeting areas inhabited by Kenyan Somalis and visitors from Somalia. KTN's Patrick Amimo takes us deep into the real genesis of the screening for suspected aliens.
Soon after independence, Kenyan security forces were engaged in a shifter war that predominantly involved Kenyan ethnic Somalis in northern Kenya. Led by the Northern Province People's Progressive Party, Somalis in the then Northern Frontier District sought union with the Somali Republic to form a Greater Somalia. Even after the shifter war ended in 1967, Northeastern Province remained a security operation area ruled under emergency law for fear of Somalia fanning dissent within Kenyan borders.
The northern parts of this country remained under security and emergency actually from 1969 until to 1997. When the Preservation of Public Order Act was scrapped.
In what was considered a security operation, in 1989, the government ordered the screening and issuance of pink identity cards to all Kenyans of Somali descent. This was prompted by a surge of armed attacks by bandits and militia from neighboring Somalia. Through a Kenya Gazette notice, the Principal Registrar of Persons ordered the screening exercise to be conducted between 13th November and 4th December 1989. According to the notice, the government was to register all Kenyan Somalis and expel those found to have sympathy with Somalia. The notice stated that the government cannot tolerate citizens who pretend to be patriotic to Kenya while they involve themselves in anti-Kenya activities. The screening process was extended to April 1990. There was political uproar, with some Kenyan Somalis arguing they had become victims of petty harassment.
Even at the time was deemed unconstitutional by the court. The government went ahead to screen and issued special ID cards. It was known as the pink card to the ones that are believed to be Kenyans. Those who are perceived or believed to have been non-Kenyans were deported. Hundreds, thousands of people were deported out of the country. And in that exercise itself, a lot of Kenyans were affected. There were many Kenyans who ended up in Somalia.
Just like the current operation, security agencies have in the past carried out several security operations in Isli to flush out suspected criminals and illegal migrants. Members of the Somali community have often criticized the operations.
Somalis have become the soft spot for the government when security comes to us in the country and Kenyans complain about security. The trend has always been to target. This profiling of the Somali community is not going to end terrorism. Terrorists can have valid purpose and still be Kenyan.
Garissa County is now witnessing relative calm following sporadic attacks from suspected Al-Shabaab militia since 2012. And here is the secret of their success.
The first thing we did, first of all, is to entrench the idea of community policing. We asked people to bring forward information, and we treated that information with a lot of confidentiality. And the people got confidence with us people, because once you give us information, you could not hear it, it has leaked to somebody else.
Naamini ya kwamba most of wale ambao walikuwa nafanya hizi vitendo Mungu pia alitusaidia, kwa sababu wengine walilipuka, walijua wenyewe katika hiyo dhulma walikuwa wanataka kutuletea. Kwa sababu hapa Garissa Primary tuliona kwamba mmoja alilipuka na ile mlipuzi ambaye alikuwa anajaribu kututegea. Mwingine alifariki hapo opposite Provincial General Hospital. Wengine serikali polisi waliweza kukamata hao na
Kenya has faced a challenge policing its porous border with Somalia, which has led to an influx of refugees and spillover of insurgent criminality.
The massive corruption that is there at the border that allows anybody with money, to walk in and do whatever it wants. Two, even those that have been arrested, with links to terrorism have been released several times by security forces here on the basis of again corruption. So one of the things that we need to do, I think, as a country, is to really confront corruption, the massive corruption in security forces.
Patrick Amimo, KTN.